National Working Committee has appointed Jeff Radebe to lead a task team that will process recommendations from the State Capture Commission's report. Radebe, who is the ANC's head of policy, has been assigned as convener of this task team that includes National Executive Committee members such as Jill Nishidenze. The team will evaluate and make informed referrals, we're reading, to the party on how to implement the recommendations from this report. Let's talk about this tonight with political analyst Omry Makgoale. Omry, a very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. So is this task team then, the establishment thereof, a sign of how seriously the ANC is taking this report?
Well, I think we can say that maybe it's an attempt to address this state capture inquiry. As to whether it was, most of the leaders mentioned have been there in the past, maybe 20 years, 27 years, and they've watched all these things happening in front of their eyes, and some of them without doing anything about it. So I really don't know whether they will have the will to do something about it, because, they know the truth, but whether they will have the will and the courage to do anything about it, I don't know.
What would be the harm, I wonder, for the ANC to allow the existing structures from the NEC to the committees in the party to process this report anyway? Why does it need a special structure, do you think?
I think it's important in a sense that the problems have been, all over the place. I mean, the whole country is affected, the whole ANC is affected. So they probably chose maybe 3 comrades they think that are most suitable to attend to this issue. But as I say, most of these comrades that have been mentioned, Jeff Radebe, Jill Nishidenze, they've been there, the past 20 years, 27 years. And as to whether they will have the courage to actually address these problems, I don't know, because most of the people know the truth. They know the truth in the ANC. Most of the people who have been in the NEC, in the cabinet, they know the truth. They saw the capture by the Guptas. They saw all the capture by the Watson. They know the truth. But whether they have the courage to address the truth, to solve these problems, I just don't know. And we'll see as time comes up whether they have the courage to address it. But at the moment, I don't know.
And I suppose only time will tell, right? But given just the reaction so far from some ANC members to part 1 of the state capture report and some of the commentary that some had made belonging to different factions about the work of the inquiry as it was underway, you wonder if this task team itself will be subject to factional scrutiny.
It is obviously going to be scrutinized along factional lines, and it's unavoidable. The factional alliance, scrutiny is unavoidable, and to check who's allied to who, whether it's RET or Chumamina, Slate, whatever they call them. But it's going to be scrutinized along that line. But I think the issue is most of these comrades have been there throughout, and they've seen what had happened in front of their eyes. And during this period, some of them have done very little to address the actual problems, and maybe it's only towards the last era of the former president that some started to talk about it. But I don't know whether they have the courage to solve the problems, because the problems are known. The capture of ANC by the Guptas and the Watson is known. It's not a secret. It's known. But whether they will have the courage to actually address and remove the people who are in strategic position, who have been, damaging the state, I don't know whether they have that courage. And I don't know whether they are not compromised, some of them, in this state capture story. And no one actually knows.
What I'm hearing from you then, Omry, is an issue about a potential crisis of credibility for people who were in the ANC at the height of state capture, at least as per what has been investigated in this inquiry process so far. How then does the party overcome that? Because even, in fact, in the main, everyone in the NEC was very much present in government at different levels during those years. Yes,
that is at the heart of the problem. For instance, Comrade Jeff Radebe has been there since Mandela's time. He has seen Mandela's period, President Mbeki's period, Kgalema Motlante's period, President Zuma's period. It's only now that he's been out of. So he has seen all these problems in front of his eyes. And if he could not address them, in the LEC of ANC or in the Central Committee of the South African Communist Party during this period, and we expect him to address them now, I really don't know whether he will do it. I really don't know. I stand to be proved, but I really don't know whether he's got the courage to do it. He's got the will to do it. We'll see it. But at the moment, from where I stand, I'm doubtful.
Could it be argued then that someone like Jeff Radebe and perhaps even a member of the committee such as Joel Nishidenze, their long stay in structures such as the NEC and the leadership of the ANC then perhaps gives them the wisdom to understand the deeper dynamics that perhaps aren't in this report but were underlying to the state capture project itself and how in the party it played out and even the silence of those years?
Yes, I agree with you. They understand all those dynamics. They understand why others were silent during that period and said nothing about it. But that was not good enough for the country, because that silence was done at the expense of the country, at the expense of the infrastructure. Eskom is destroyed, Transnet is destroyed, Prasa was destroyed, Petro SA was destroyed, all those things. So, and that silence was done at the expense of the country. And so it's really unfortunate that people kept quiet while the country was being destroyed. And I just don't know whether they will have the courage to actually face these problems now and address them. And I stand to be proved wrong. But at the moment, I doubt that they would actually address these problems the way we wish that it should be addressed. Because they are affected. Some of them are compromised, in this thing. By being silent when wrong things are happening in front of you, it's basically not the correct thing to do. When you see somebody stealing and you keep quiet and you don't send to open a case against the police, then you are not so innocent in my mind. So that's why I say I don't know really whether they will have the courage to address this problem. But I remain to be convinced.
ANC leaders are meeting this weekend, as we know, just a matter of days after that rather embarrassing episode where the president said that the tourism minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, had apologized for comments that she made about the judiciary. She then came back and said, well, the president's media team is deliberately misrepresenting how that conversation between her and the president went, and she's not apologized. Should the party deal with that directly? Because there have been some suggestions that she be referred to the Integrity Commission, for example.
Yes, I think it's a very unfortunate thing that happened between the tourism minister and the president. You see, you don't expect a minister to defy the president, or appear to be, disrespectful to the president. I think it's very unfortunate, and my own view is that the NEC must discuss this matter, and if need be, request Minister Sisulu to resign from the ministries if she doesn't want to respect the president, who is the head of the executive. Then the honorable thing for her to do is to resign, But if she doesn't want to resign and she does no longer want to serve under President Ramaphosa for whatever reason, then she must be suspended until Integrity Commission or Disciplinary Commission can look into the matter. But it's disappointing. She's expected to be highly disciplined cadre of the ANC and not disrespectful to the president, not defy the president. This is not what we expect. We are actually ashamed that she's doing this.
The renewal project of the ANC was a major theme during the delivery of the January 8th statement, the beginning of this month. But when you consider the fact that this is an election year, and as you've already seen with the reaction to the issue around Lindiwe Sisulu and Cyril Ramaphosa, party members and leaders are split on what it is and how to deal with it. Does that then mean the renewal project is dead in the water, at least as far as this year is concerned?
I think at the moment, the way I look at it, I've not concluded whether it's dead or what. But depending on what we do from now onwards, it might be dead. But if we find a chance to actually change the method of electing leaders, stop the conference from national conference from taking place and elect leaders in a different way, on the basis of one ANC member, one vote, we might actually salvage the ANC. But if we can't get that through, if we can't establish one member, one vote for electing the ANC, it means that renewal will be almost forgotten for this year. It won't take place for this year. And it means we'll continue with the capture of the ANC leadership by various nefarious families. As to which family will come top this time, I wouldn't know. But if we don't change the way we elect leaders, it will be another capture of the ANC leadership by another family or by other scrupulous or unscrupulous, other untrustworthy business punters and all that.
Omry
So
Makgoale.
it will be unfortunate. Yes.
Thank you very much for your time. So thank you for being on News at Prime.
Okay.